Tight ends, tight ends. Let's talk tight ends. Here are my tight end ranks for week 4. I've got 18 guys ranked. We'll go through them. This shouldn't take that long. And we'll talk about each guy, each matchup. I'll bring about 4 or 5 guys up on screen at any given time. I've got 18, so if we do 4, 4, 4, and the rest, that sounds good. Let's go with the first 4. Brock Bowers playing the Bears in Vegas. Trey McBride playing the Seahawks in Arizona on Thursday. Tucker Kraft against the Cowboys. I think that's the Sunday night matchup. And Tyler Warren playing the Rams. Guys, I want to call out here Tucker Kraft. If there's any issues with a lingering knee issue, if he's not fully practicing by the end of the week, I may dip him down. We'll come out with our rankings update later this week, and we'll be checking the practice reports. These other guys, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, if you have them, you are starting them. Nothing about the matchups here would get me away from these guys or have me somehow put someone else over them. We don't really need to talk a ton about them. And then I've got Tyler Warren at 4. He's been a really good rookie tight end. The Rams defense does scare me for the Colts. If we find out this week that the Colts and Daniel Jones turn back into a pumpkin, it wouldn't surprise me. But we've seen them beat up on the Broncos. We've seen them just continuing to go on. So until I see a change, I'll have Tyler Warren pretty high. He's a key part of this offense. Next group of guys, Sam LaPorta, Jake Ferguson, Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce. I think I'm a little bit high on Zach Ertz, but he just keeps producing at age 37, 38. He's an old man. This might be the last ride for him, but he was tight end 7 last year. He's a key part of this offense. If Terry McLaurin misses time, that kind of just solidifies how I think they will be going to Zach Ertz. I'm not worried about him playing the Falcons. It's kind of just, I'm just going to keep trusting it until age starts to show up. But Zach Ertz at 7 is kind of going to be a lock in my rankings here. Jake Ferguson playing the Packers. CeeDee Lamb, not going to be around for a couple weeks. George Pickens is elevated into the top receiving option. The guys behind him, I don't know how much I trust them for the Cowboys. And I really think this Packers defense is really tough. So if I'm predicting a game flow here, I don't like doing this. But if I'm saying the Cowboys are behind and Dak Prescott is chasing points, he's been doing that through his tight end. Tyler Ferguson had, I think, 12 or 13 targets against the Bears this past weekend as they were trying to catch up. He will go to that tight end as a safety blanket option. And if the Packers can kind of lock up all of the other players, and they really only need to worry about George Pickens at wide receiver, like Jalen Tolbert doesn't, and Kevontae Turpin don't really, I don't know that they strike fear into a defense. So I could see him getting this ball to Jake Ferguson on some short passes. Sam LaPorta, it's a really talented tight end that the Lions don't always have to go through. This is a tough defensive matchup against the Browns. There's not that much to it. It's just I have a hard time getting away from pieces of this offense, so I'll have Sam LaPorta in my lineup. Travis Kelce as the final option here. Kind of similar to what I was saying with Zach Ertz. He's not quite as good as Zach Ertz anymore, but I feel safe with him compared to the options that we're about to talk about. Like the next group, Dalton Kincaid, TJ Hawkinson, Juwan Johnson, Hunter Henry. I've been saying Hunter Henry is the textbook 4 for 40 and a shot at a touchdown. Last week he had 2 touchdowns and had a fantastic week. The week before that, he had, I think, about 2 catches and almost no points. It could be anywhere in between there. That's kind of the game with tight end, is you're just hoping for a few receptions and a touchdown, and Hunter Henry kind of hits those at a reasonable rate. The opposite end of that spectrum of hoping that 3 to 5 targets becomes a touchdown is Juwan Johnson, just a target monster. 8, 9, 10 targets a week to Juwan Johnson. Until that's changing, I'm going to be going back to him. I've been a little bit slow to warm up to Juwan, but Kellen Moore, I mean, this offense is really Olave, Johnson, a little bit of Shaheed, and Kamara. So I'll be rolling with him. Dalton Kincaid against the Saints. I think in year 3, we're starting to see a bit of Dalton Kincaid's breakout. There's no great wide receivers to really go away from the tight end. It's kind of just Keon Coleman, fine. Khalil Shakir, fine. Palmer, fine. And Dalton Kincaid as a decent tight end option. Kind of getting into the dregs here. And then TJ Hawkinson, a guy I loved in the preseason. It has not quite worked out with JJ McCarthy in the first 2 weeks. In the 3rd week with Carson Wentz, TJ Hawkinson is out there. He is running routes. He is playing. They just hadn't quite gone to him. He caught a touchdown in week 3. In week 4, playing the Steelers, I think this is, I'll be firing him up again. The final group of guys. We've got Mark Andrews at 13, Njoku and Fannin at 14 and 15, Kyle Pitts at 16, and then Brenton Strange and Dallas Goedert as my Hail Mary throws. There's not a ton of rhyme or reason to this other than the Lions would have me moving Fannin and Njoku back. It's just a solid defense. Mark Andrews against the Chiefs. I think it was week 1 last year. Mark Andrews, that's kind of when the fear on him started. He had no receptions, no targets in that game against the Chiefs. I don't know if that's the Chiefs' game plan again. Going into 2024, it was kind of the Ravens run their offense through Mark Andrews. In 2024, they brought in Derrick Henry and kind of changed things up. So I don't know that the Chiefs are planning for the same team that they were last year. Mark Andrews had a great night on Monday night. I still kind of want to see him get into a more solidified 5 or 6 targets a game and a chance at a touchdown before he's back into my top 10. But I hope you didn't drop Mark Andrews. I think he's still a viable tight end option. Other players to talk about here, there's not that much to say about Kyle Pitts. He's probably going to get about 4 or 5 targets a game. Let's see how Penix rebounds after a really, really bad game in week 3. And then Brenton Strange and Dallas Goedert are just the only other options that I would feel safe with if Dallas Goedert is able to go. All right, so we'll wrap up tight ends there. We do now have recordings for quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. This is tight ends. One of them will be on your screen somewhere. Click it if you want to see more from me. If you liked this, hit the like. If you want to see more ranks each week, please subscribe.